What's a big mistake you made or a big regret you have that taught you a valuable lesson in life?
Woof.
If a guy isn't where he wants to be in life, he's not going to be ready to take you with him on that journey.
I want to become a stage performer.
So instead of being a stage performer, you did what?
Well, I did accounting.
Do you regret that? Today I'm in California asking strangers in their 40s, one of the most interesting times in your life, what advice they would give to their younger self. How old are you?
I'm 40.
I am 49.
I'm 37 years old. What does it feel like to be 40?
It feels like freedom. We put these self-imposed constraints, like thinking we need to do something by a certain time or be a certain way. I don't know, that fell away, like when I turned 40.
Turning almost 50 now, turning 48. At this juncture in my life, I'm definitely more aware of the things I want, the things I'll put up with. If I don't feel like doing something, sorry, I don't feel like doing that. I also feel more beautiful, even though those physical things happen. I think because within, I feel more confident and more myself.
To be honest, it feels amazing. I feel like before 30s, you want to impress everybody. But after 30s, you kind of start like, okay, I don't care about people's opinions anymore. I just want to be myself. And you feel like you became more mature all of a sudden.
One of my favorite quotes of all time is a Stoic quote. It reads, "Easy life, hard choices. Hard life, easy choices." What is a hard choice you made that has led you to be where you are today?
So one of the hardest choices I made was walking away from the gambling world. So I was like 40 when I did that. Another hard choice I made, which really wasn't hard, but at the time in my 20s, I was using a lot of drugs and alcohol. Finally surrendering and letting go of that in my mid-20s, that was very challenging. It wasn't hard. It was more difficult because of the unknown once of letting go of that.
What's a big event that changed the outlook of your life?
My dad had to retire from work when I was 10. So that changed my outlook on life. Like, I just realized, don't take anything for granted. Health isn't even guaranteed. So, you really have to grow up pretty fast and kind of change your perspective on things. And, he was maybe 40. So I'm 37. So that's in 3 years, and had 3 kids. So that's kind of that really puts things in perspective. Like, in 3 years, imagine if I had to retire and then still provide for a family of 3. Really just take advantage of every moment and, seize every opportunity that you have.
What is a truth about life that you've learned that you wish more people understood?
There's no single truth. It's just a perspective. So they all true.
Everyone is free to make whatever decision they want, and you can move through the fear. You can still be brave even if you're scared. I think that's what bravery is doing things afraid.
Why do people feel stuck then?
I think it goes back to the expectations of what we think people want from us. We might be waiting for permission from other people when really the power is in your hands, to take that first step.
That it's not the end of the world. A guy breaks up with you, it's not the end of the world. You lose a job, it's not the end of the world. You can always pick yourself back up, figure out what happened, and then move forward.
There's positivity in everything you do. You just have to make sure that you see it and be aware of your goal while you're still doing it.
What is a big mistake you've made or a big regret you have that taught you a valuable lesson in life?
The mistake of getting married without really knowing the person for a long time.
How long did you know him for?
It was a year by the time we got married. Can't rush it. You need to see a person in every season of life. There's this thing I talk about. It's called the man journey. If a guy isn't where he wants to be in life, he's not going to be ready to take you with him on that journey.
What is a big lesson that you learned from that divorce?
Do not wait for someone to validate your feelings. You don't have to wait for them to see it or to tell you, oh yes, you're right, that experience is what you're thinking. If you feel a certain way, trust your intuition. And I learned that I had a really high tolerance for poor behavior. Now I have a high standard of what good behavior is.
When I got out of the gambling world, that world is the ultimate world of regret. If I only played my hand this way, if I only did this, if I said this to my boss or whatever. But I think deep down, if you develop a faith, just a real faith that everything is supposed to be unfolding exactly as it is, and that the universe is always conspiring for you, even though it doesn't feel that way. We all have our lessons in life that we have to learn from. And you can't avoid that.
I have a question here from our journal, and it reads, what is a goal that you have set for yourself when you were younger that you never achieved?
I want to become a stage performer. I never achieved that. I think, yeah, well, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. How come you never achieved that? What happened?
I think parents, right? My dad particularly was thinking, being a stage performer, you have very short professional time where if you study a skill, you can use until later time.
So instead of being a stage performer, you did what?
Well, I did accounting.
Do you regret that looking back?
I always think that will always be part of me. That's an aspiration that will stay with me forever. You never know. You might see me dancing one day on the stage.
We would love to.
Getting married and having children. And honestly, I don't know if that was a goal because that was my goal or because that was someone else's goal for me. I don't know if that's ever going to happen for me, and I'm okay with that.
I'd say a lot of people that I speak to have goals that they haven't achieved. Why do you think that is?
I guess me, as an immigrant, you always kept in the back of your mind, the parents. It's like, make sure you don't embarrass me. Make sure you don't do this stuff. So it's like trying to fit in the society based on their way of growing up, of what they've seen from their parents.
Achieving a goal is taking one step after another, and it can seem like an insurmountable feat. But if you just take that one step forward and then just keep taking one step every day towards that goal, you can get there. You do have to define what that goal is and then know to go in that direction. But when it comes to making a big change in your life, if you're considering it, that means you probably should have already made the change.
I think people are just too hard on themselves. People are like expecting that they should pass the bar exam, or they should get this job, or by this time they should have this. And I think it's so much about the process. Goals they're great to work towards, and they're important to have. You can use them as a measuring stick and a way to create self-discipline and behavior patterns that are helpful, like your book. If you use guides like that, I think that is very helpful.
What's your advice to somebody who does not like what they do and would like to love what they do?
First, you have to ask yourself, what is it that I love? And then try to build your life around that. Take the time to know yourself. Not what you think your parents want you to do. Not what you think your spouse or your boyfriend or your family is telling you to do. It's like, what brings you joy? And develop that relationship with yourself.
I always wanted to work for myself. The biggest pressure, which I didn't take personally, was my family was very concerned about me. But I kind of knew that in my heart and in my gut, I had to do this. Probably similar to how you knew you had to start what you started. And whether it failed or not, I knew I needed to learn that to go down that path. What I learned in starting my life over at 40 is it is very humbling and it's very challenging. I think if you just show up for life one day at a time and you're willing to take risk, opportunities always present themselves. We're so focused on the outcome, thinking that that's going to be the thing internally is going to make us like, okay. And when I was traveling the world, in my experience, the people that materially looked like they had the least seemed to be the happiest and the most content. And in our society can be a different way of thinking here.
If you could go back in time to your 25-year-old self, knowing everything you know today, what advice would you give to her?
I think enjoy being alone. Like, was I not popular? Maybe I'm not pretty. That's why I have to be home alone. Now I think that particular period gave you lots of power and then make who I am.
Usually your gut instinct is the right one, so you don't have to wait around and think about it like, oh man, am I making the right decision? Usually your gut instinct is the right one, and you learn that over time.
I still have it. Let go of the scarcity mentality. Embrace abundance and take really big risk. Whatever choice you can make, even if you think was the wrong choice, I think people are more scared of thinking that it's wrong. And then you can always change back. You go to India, after 15 days, you realize you don't like it there. Guess what? You can hop on a plane and go somewhere else, You don't like your job, you could quit. You could, Yeah,
it's possible. Yeah, people think it's not possible, but it is.
That you're not stuck in your situation. Just because you've made a certain choice doesn't mean you have to stick to that choice. Just because you've done something wrong doesn't mean you have to wallow and stir in that. That you can change your mind about anything you want, anytime you want.
If you're looking at your friends who are mainly around your age, would you say most of them are happy?
I think so. I think more or less. Depends. Some people maybe don't like what they're doing as a job, but they have a family that brings them a lot of joy. Some people maybe don't have a family, but they're super stoked with their job, or they don't like their job, but it pays them so they can go on vacations and take trips. So, I mean, I think you figure out what is most important. You know, you sort of justify it as you get older.
Why do a lot of people feel lost in life?
I think because we're trying to live up to expectations. So I definitely felt lost for a while. And I put too much value on getting approval from men in general. And when you're seeking approval and you are trying to make other people happy or bend to fit into whatever shape you think they want you to be, you become this sort of diluted version of self. Like I got hired once, like hire the hot one. Not because I was smart, not because I had a degree.
You heard that?
Yes.
Wow.
I overheard it from the hallway.
Ah, really?
And it sucks. And then you know, as like a early 20s something trying to get into, you know, build my career, you're like, oh, I mean, I guess this is my chance. I'll just, you know, take my opportunity. But like now at 40, I'm like, I'm smarter than most of you. And I really don't care what you think.
I also would have cared less about people's opinions because I always try to make sure I fit in the frame. So it's like everybody likes me. But I should have not done that because it's like, it sets you back. I had so many ideas and like friends, oh, no, you shouldn't do that because, you know, it wouldn't fit our thinking or our societal norms.
My advice is just sort of how I was raised, you know, seeing your father lose capability of their body at a young age. There's a lot of things you can't control. So if you can't control it, don't worry about it. Just worry about what you can control and take it from there.
When you're young,
that
do
part.
everything. Travel, make mistakes, go for the gusto. Nothing matters. Even if what you think you're perceiving as failure at the time, it doesn't matter. Like go for all the experiences. Fear is the biggest thing that I think holds people back. Fear of rejection or looking stupid. The more you do whatever it is you're doing, maybe the more comfortable you get at it, or maybe it leads you to something else.
How do you suggest someone kind of go through life and navigate it?
I think that there is no actual way to do it. Everybody is different and everybody's path is different and the way everybody handles things and achieves things is different. And I didn't learn that until my late 40s that I'm in now. I didn't understand that the way this person does something is not the way I have to do it to get to where I want to be. To anybody feeling lost, you're always going to feel lost at some point. It's how you deal with it is how you sort of propel yourself forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't had a chance yet to grab a copy of our goal setting journal and get over $1,500 of incredible bonuses with your copy, click the link in the description. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.